Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to go through a very simple concept to understand. It's going to be hopefully a very short video, but it's just, getting good at understanding when you're in low probable scenarios and when you're in high probable scenarios, right? Okay, so, well, starting off, AU. So, very simple. How do you know if you're in a high probable scenario? One, there needs to be high volume, because that's going to play out in your favor. Two, you want to have a clear target. Okay, so for example, today specifically, first of all, yesterday we had a retracement phase. Now, if I were to be trading yesterday, the only high probable scenario would have been trading this leg right here when it failed to break the 50-minute internal change of character. The reason being is because we just broke the external structure and we are in the retracement phase. And then externally, since we're still bullish, all we have to do is we have to wait until price shifts back up, and then we're going to go back into high probable conditions because we have a clear target to go for. Now, this was also aligned with the higher time frame, which is all the way up there. So coming in today, we got our 50-minute internal break, a 50-minute internal change of character with volume. So that's a good indication that we are now going for this target. So London session, what do we get? We get a huge push to the upside. Now, this right here is all you need, and the only indication that you need to know that we're going to go up higher. So there's literally no reason for you to not take advantage of this, because you're in such high probable scenarios, right? So all I did was come in, look for a continuation, moving in the same direction of where we are trying to go. So you got imbalance, which is one of my confluences, inducement, simple entry, 2.31 restore reward. Let me just put that down so we can take a look at that later. So 2.31 RR. And then, I mean, our target was right here, I think. Yeah, this was our target. You could have potentially done that if you want to be risky, but since it's a 1-minute trade, I'm going to be targeting the 1-minute structure. There was more setups right here, but the confluences were not the greatest, so I did not take anything there. But if we looked at NZD, we had the same scenario. We got our 4-hour week structure, 4-hour internal break, failed to break the low. We get our range in condition, we get a big push to the upside. That's our indication that we're trying to go up higher. And then all I had to do was find continuation models heading in the same direction of the week structure. So you got your 3-minute break structure, inducement right there, entry 2.29 rest of reward. And then this was a bit of a tougher trade, but basically price came to the extreme. Let me just get rid of that. Basically, we got our external, well, somewhat external breaker structure on the 1-minute time frame. Price comes all the way to the protected low. We got inducement and it fails to break. Why did it fail to break? Because we got wick closes, right? And then that means this is the weak structure. So I entered when I see this big candle and targeted 1 to 2, and that's it. Simple. Now, this last continuation was as it was breaking the weak structure. Now, thing is, eventually you're gonna get stopped out still, right? It's all about probabilities. You're still gonna have a much higher probability of taking a lot of winners in these conditions, but you're still gonna get stopped out eventually. Okay, so when you do end up getting stopped out, and if the target has not been reached yet, just like I was doing here, what you'd be doing is you'd be looking for a change of character back in that direction. So essentially you're just going to be looking for a fractal. So this is what I was looking for. 15-minute change, 50-minute demand, you get 1-minute change, and I was just waiting for price to come and mitigate this POI so I can go target that high again. But yeah, very simple. Now, once this structure gets taken, if you want to keep on taking continuations, you can go ahead, but then you have to understand that higher you go, the lower probability it's going to be, unless new structure gets created. And how does the new structure look like? Well, basically something like price coming back down here, then getting a 1-minute change of character to go back up. That would make a higher probability again. And then when you end up getting your 50-minute change of character with good imbalance, good volume, that will be your indication that we're going to be retracing back into a premium, oh sorry, a discounted area to go back up. And then, you know, of course, if you're, once you get the proper confirmation, trade in until you're not in too much of an extreme zone. It's still going to be good conditions. And then once you shift, and the thing is about counter trends, you don't know when you're going to start to go back in the opposite direction, so this can be risky. So you want to be trading in premium zones if you're on a bullish trend, trying to take sells. So for example, after we get this change of character, you want to be trading around these areas before you get into the very extreme zone, because the lower you go, the lower probability it's going to be that it's going to play out. So if we go take a look at the same thing on AUD USD, you want to be trading in this premium area before you get into too much of an extreme zone, because when you get to that stage, there's going to be an area where it's going to completely reverse and you're just going to start taking a lot of pointless losses. Now, I was going to end the video there, but just as I was about to render the video, this setup showed up. So just to add to all those other setups that I've went through, like I said, fractal to go back up. So what did we get? We got our 50-minute demand reaction. We get our change of character. And I would have been looking for this fractal to go back up, but as you can clearly see, we never came to the extreme. Fair enough. Okay. But then, as we were breaking the weak structure, what do we get? We get our internal breaker structure. We get price coming into the extreme demand, and it respects the protected low, making the high weak and target, and we end up getting 2.53 rest of the world in profit. So a total, let me just, sorry, we made a total of 8.23 rest of the world profit. Now, I just want to put this in perspective, okay? So look, if you just focus on these high probability scenarios, right? For example, today, for me, by doing that, I managed to make 8.23 risk to reward. Now, I always risk 0.5%. So, per se, let's say you're on a 200k account, risking 0.5%, that would be 1k USD per trade, and we managed to get 8.2, so 8,000, I mean $8,230, right? That's 4 wins and 1 loss. That's an 80% win rate. Now look, even for example, even if the whole week was horrible, there were no high probability conditions, and only on the Friday, today, there was high probability conditions, you would still manage to make 8.2k. Now let's say you don't want to take all these trades, okay? Let's say you only take one trade. Let's say you just took this trade right here. You still make 2k, right? You're cutting out all the other garbage and just trying to trade when there's a clear target and you know exactly where the market is going. And you know, if you make, for example, this right here, if you're making 8,000, right, which is entirely possible, right, especially in trading, this is not something that people haven't done. People have done crazier things, yeah? So if you're making 8,000 by just being patient and waiting for the right conditions, I mean, what else do you want? You know what I mean? Like, what other job or what else is gonna get you 8k? All you have to do is just be smart, be patient, wait for the right conditions, and just execute without thinking too much. Just follow the system, keep it simple. Just wait for the right scenarios, high probable scenarios, and just need to execute. That's it. Now this, of course, you need to get the reps in. You need to do this over and over again until you keep improving, getting better. And yeah, so I hope you guys understood. And if you've got any questions, you know, join my Discord. I share my analysis. For example, I did my market outlook today. I was expecting price to shoot up today, as you can see, and that's literally exactly what happened. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys understood a few things, and hope you got good value out of this video too. And yeah, I'll see you in the Discord or in the next video or wherever else. Alright, in a bit.